In this video, I'm going to show you 3 different ways of tying the Alpine Butterfly. You can find this in Ashley's Book of Knots. It's knot number 331. It's known as the Linesman loop, but it's commonly referred to these days as the Alpine Butterfly. It's very commonly used in caving, climbing and rope access as a way of creating a loop in the middle of the rope. We often use this for rigging Y-hangs or travers lines with multiple different anchors. Yeah, very common and very, very useful knot. I want to just start by showing you the finished knot before I show you how to tie it, because there's a number of different variations on the butterfly, and you can get the tying method wrong and end up with something not quite so stable or strong. So on one face we've got the 2 wings here, and the 2 strands that come in from either side will run parallel there when they're dressed correctly. On the other side, got the back of those wings, and we can see that the 2 strands are crossed. They are essentially interlinked. I can't pull one off the loop without the other. The loop itself will naturally fall kind of out to the side of the knot, kind of 90 degrees perpendicular to the loaded strands, although it doesn't have to remain at that angle when we use it and load it. These are very good, stable knots when they're cinched down tight, but they're also quite easy to undo after heavy loading. So yeah, really worth learning this one. So the first method is definitely the easiest to learn. I'm going to start by wrapping the rope around my hand at the point I want to create the knot. So I'm going to take 3 wraps around my hand, and I'm going to start at my wrist, and I'm going to wrap towards my fingertips. What I'm going to do is take the strand that's closest to my wrist and move it over the other 2 wraps down to my fingertip end, and I'm going to leave that there. I'm going to come back, take the wrap that's now closest to my wrist, lift that over the other 2 towards my fingertips. But this time, this one's going to go down through under the other 2 wraps, along my palm and back towards my wrist. So if I poke that through, pull it through like that. If I move my hand out of the way, I can pull on the strands of rope and the loop, and I end up with this shape here that doesn't look anything like the finished product. To finish this, I need to pull the strands apart, and that snaps it into shape, and I finish off just by dressing any twists out, and we can see we have our crossover and our parallel strands there. I'll show you that one again. 3 wraps around the hand, wrist to fingertips, wrist to fingertips, pull it out a little bit if you need to for more length, and then back through the centre of everything. Pull on your strands, pull on your loop, and then separate the strands apart, and that will snap into the butterfly shape with the loop sticking out the side of the knot. You end up with quite short loops tying that method, although you can always feed more slack in to make them longer. There is a more efficient way of tying them to create longer loops, and this involves creating some twists, so loops with twists. If I start by making a loop, and I can make this loop as long as I want the final loop to be, plus a little bit more that's going to get eaten up in the knot. I'm going to create a second twist in this in the same direction as the first one. So if I start by twisting that way, I need to continue my second twist in the same direction. I'm going to take this end, pass it underneath everything along the table, up and over, and dive back down through this hole. So if I lift it up, see, I'm going to bring that loop under, put it down there just so you can see the shape, and then continue to bring that loop back round down that hole there. Again, if I pull that tight by the loop and the strands, dress it down, cinch it up, crossovers, our 2 parallel strands there, our Alpine Butterfly. Show you that again. Pull the loop out in my hand this time using my index finger and my thumb to keep the twist. Twist again in the same direction, and then if I pinch that second twist, I can then pull the other one round through and cinch it down. Okay, I can make the loop as long as my arms can reasonably reach when I tie it with this method, so good for very large Y-hangs. Crossing strands, 2 parallel strands there. The third method I'm going to show you is actually how to rethread these. So if you wanted to connect into like a fixed anchor point, like an eye bolt, and you wanted to save a carabiner, or you just simply run out of carabiner, so maybe you're doing fixed rigging or something, you can tie the same knot from the end of it. Okay, I need to start with an overhand knot, which is a very simple granny knot like that. Okay, and to help you learn this, you want that actually coming out the front. So if I go back a step, bring that over and through, it's just a little bit easier to see the process when this strand comes out the top above the knot. So if I set these at 90 degrees to one another, we've kind of got half of our butterfly there already. I'm going to take the end of the rope, pass it through the anchor point or around whatever it is I'm trying to tie this to, and then follow this parallel into the knot, but bringing out the opposite side of the other strand. Okay, probably start to see the shape of the butterfly forming there. Essentially this is symmetrical now, so I can kind of mentally copy what's going on here. So if I start by bringing this around the back, and then what I need to do is have this pass out this side going down, because if you see that one's going down, but on the way through I need to make that interlink between the two strands where they crossed over, and that's this bit here. So if I pass this one under there and then take it out that loop, so you see that there, then I'm going to pull that down tight, dress it and finish it off. Parallel strands, cross over. Show you that again, backtrack, pull the tail out, take that off our anchor eye. So you can see, start with a simple overhand knot, thread the rope through our anchor point, through there to create our loop, round the back, and then we need to go under this strand and out this way. So basically going out in the same way that one goes out, just on the opposite side. So through there, out there, tighten it down and dress it up. There's a lot of ways to get that one wrong, going through the wrong loop, missing a loop, and you end up with something that just doesn't quite look right. You may have created one of the other false butterflies, different types of butterflies. Remember, we want our crossing strands on one side interlinked and our parallel strands on the other. That's how we know we've got a proper Alpine butterfly. So, just quickly showing you the two on the bite methods again. Method 1. And method 2. Same Alpine butterfly, 3 different ways for 3 different scenarios.